welcome to yet another vlog starting in my car. So I realized that I haven't done like a reading video in a while, and that's because I really haven't been reading. So this week I wanted to be very intentional on getting that reading time in. I'm a little bit sick right now. I was sick over the weekend, so I did not read like it all over the weekend because I just did not feel good. And then last week I read a little bit, but really not that much. So this week the goal is to get back into reading and just also show like how I find time to read as a teacher. And the first way that I do that is I listen to audiobooks on my way to and from work, which is why I'm starting in the car, because I just got home from work and I was listening to my book and it made me think of updating you guys, I guess, and also starting this vlog at the same time. So I don't really know what this week is going to look like as far as like when I'm filming and when I'm filming, but I am going to kind of try to track how much I actually read this week as a teacher. I absolutely love how enthusiastic I was yesterday, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be intentional and read, and I'm gonna go inside and get some reading done and just really focus on that. Didn't open a book, didn't read one single page yesterday. I had a lot of other things going on and I just didn't get to it. But I have been listening to my audiobook. With the book that I'm listening to, obviously, depending on the length of the books, it changes. But the book that I've started this week, I feel like I'm getting through about 3% on the drive there and then like 3% on the drive back. So I'm getting through 6% every day, which is not that bad. I really don't know how many pages that would be. But I have that going. And then I did start another book somewhere. Here it is. I started An Ember in the Ashes because the spine has a cool little decoration. And when I went to the store, I got this like, I don't know, maybe a month ago. When I went to the store, my husband told me to buy all of them. There's 4 in the series. He was like, well, buy all 4 because of the spines. So I had permission. I could have done it, but I just couldn't because I don't know. I feel like fantasy series, I don't know, honestly, if this is considered young adult or not. I think it is. I think it was in the young adult section. But with like fantasy series, they are so hit or miss for me, especially if it's first person. Like I am so quick to hate a book. You know what I mean? Like I'm so judgmental. So I didn't want to go ahead and buy 4, even though that would be gorgeous on my shelf, having like whatever picture it is. I can't even remember. But these are like shelf material and the cover is really pretty too. But I just couldn't bring myself to buy all 4 without knowing if I even like the story or the author's writing or anything. So all that to say, I am starting that book. I'm not very far into it. I just started it a couple days ago. I'm on page 40. So far I don't hate it. It's fine. 40 pages into a fantasy though is not really enough time to like gauge whether I like it or not. So hopefully I'm going to get some of that reading done today maybe. I make no promises. But I do need to also, I joined a book club with some of my friends, and the book that we picked is Remarkably Bright Creatures, which I don't own. I couldn't find the physical copy at the store. I went to 2 different stores and I couldn't find it. But apparently the audiobook is really good, so I might just get the audiobook and listen to it, but then I don't know when I would listen to it because I'm listening to a different audiobook right now. And I have to have it done in the month of September. So I don't know what to do, but I will need to get that eventually. So I am about 55 pages into An Ember in the Ashes. It is good so far. It's definitely just throws you into the middle of it and doesn't spend a lot of time like info dumping, which is great. It's perfect. I do not like the beginning of a fantasy book just opening with like a history lesson. So you definitely just get thrown into the middle of these two different point of views. So you have this girl who I really probably shouldn't even be updating y'all right now because I don't think I fully understand what's going on yet. But this girl is basically like her brother gets arrested for being part of a rebellion group, and so she runs away to avoid getting like captured by association. And then the guy's point of view in this book is about this boy who is in like basically military training and hates everything that the empire stands for. So their paths have not crossed yet, but I'm sure at some point they will because dual POV. But so far I am liking the world building. Like I said, a little bit confusing, but again, I think it's just because there is so much of it and I'm only 50 pages in that I haven't been like exposed to it enough. This author is doing a really good job of like repeating certain like terms over and over and over and over again, and like not giving a new definition every single time, but just kind of like circling back with enough context where I'm like, oh yeah, that's what this is. So that's good. I don't know anything that happens in this book. Like I did not read the back. Maybe I did read the back when I bought it. I don't remember. Like I said, it was like a month ago. So I have no idea what like the big conflict is outside of, I assume somehow these two main characters are going to overthrow the government. But that's YA fantasy for you. Love her. So it's going well. I'm actually reading. Yay! I am interested to see how many like pages I've been reading of my audiobook, because like I said, I'm really just listening to it for about 20, well I guess in total between 30 and 40 minutes a day. It is Wednesday. No. Thursday. It's Thursday. Not that it matters to any of you guys because you're watching all of this in one go, but oh my gosh, I'm still sick from this weekend. I feel fine, but I'm just like, I keep coughing and I'm like sniffly, you know? Can I set you down? Oh. Okay, that's part of my dinner. I don't think I ever talked about the audiobook that I'm listening to. I'm listening to The Giver of Stars by Jojo Moyes. And it's really good so far. It's like, I think it's historical fiction, but it's basically about in the 1930s, I want to say, the traveling library program that FDR set up back in the Depression to try and give people jobs. And so you're following this British woman who married a man from Kentucky. Like he was in England, and anyway, they got married. So now she's in Kentucky and is just really not fitting in. So she volunteered to work for this traveling library. So she has to like get on a horse and ride through the mountains delivering books to people and picking them up and stuff like that. So that so far has just been kind of like a cozy read, like nothing crazy's happening in it, which is different than my usual like fantasy. I feel like is what I generally gravitate towards. Not much in ways of like crazy plot. It's just a very easy read and I'm listening to it, so it's nice. And I'm also still working on An Ember in the Ashes. I'm now on page 86, so I'm 11 chapters in, and it is, I don't want to say flying, but like, check that out. Look at how big the words are and how much space there is. I feel like it reads very quick. I have not done any physical reading today, and it's already 9. because I got home and I had a headache and I was just also really tired, and I didn't spend any quiet time with the Lord this morning. So I've been kind of in a little dry patch there. So I texted one of my friends and I just told her, man, I didn't get to do that this morning. And she really encouraged me to open up the Bible and just see what would happen. And I think I was doing that for an hour, which is incredible because I've been struggling to even find the motivation to pray or just read a little chapter. So it was really, really nice and refreshing to spend all that time. I started with a devotional, and then I actually read my Bible and underlined and highlighted, annotated it, and actually was interacting with it as opposed to just reading it and moving on. So that was a huge blessing for me. So it's kind of funny because I want to count that as reading, because I was reading, but it's okay. So now I'm going to crack this bad boy open and see how far I can get before my husband gets home. Saturday. I didn't really film any voice clips yesterday, where I was talking, because I had a really busy afternoon, I guess. I did read, but I just didn't talk about it. So the clips that you just saw of me giving the update of what page I'm on, that was last night. This video definitely did not necessarily go the way I was expecting, but I also just didn't really know what to expect, so that's maybe on me for not kind of fleshing out what I wanted from it. But I did warn you in the beginning. I said I don't know what it's gonna look like. So I will say I enjoyed doing this mainly because reading was present on my mind every day, and I feel like had I not decided to do this vlog, I probably would not have specifically picked up this book as often. Audiobooking on the way to and from work is just kind of routine at this point, but getting home and actually physically reading is definitely a choice that I have to make. And if I wasn't conscious of the fact that I was tracking my reading this week and trying to kind of vlog it, I definitely could have seen myself scrolling or just doing something else instead of reading. So for that, I am glad. Overall, I read, I don't know the total number of pages, I didn't do the math, despite being a math teacher, sue me. But on Tuesday, which is when I started this vlog, I only read 16 pages. Wednesday, I read 86 pages. Thursday, 46 pages, and Friday, 66 pages. So I don't know why I read in increments of 6. They all end in 6, which is kind of weird, but also kind of cool. So I don't really know what to do with this information or what I expect you to do with this information, but I guess that's probably about 200 pages for the week, which not too shabby. So if you are someone who wants to read more or struggles to find time to read, don't beat yourself up over not reading how much you think you're supposed to read. Especially, I feel like with a lot of booktubers, reading is their job. So they have all day to read, and that's how they're crushing books in 1-2 days. Because yeah, if I didn't go to work, I could read this in a day. Not a big deal. No shade to them at all. I'm literally so jealous that that's their job. But as someone who has a full-time job that is not creating content or reading or anything like that, which I'm sure is a lot of people out there, just don't be too hard on yourself. Just be proud of what you do get to read and enjoy the reading, because I feel like I always get into reading slumps when I feel like I'm not reading enough, or I set a reading goal this year of 50 books because last year I read 35, and so I was like, well, let me try for 50. So I realize when I like get behind on my goal, I just kind of lose motivation to read because I'm just feeling like kind of guilty or ashamed. So I don't want any of you to do that, and I'm trying very hard not to be like that either. But just read what you can, because every page is a success. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to read a whole book every day. If it takes you 2 months to read a book, I'm so proud of you. You read a book. Good job, you know? I hope you have enjoyed this little reading vlog. If you did, please subscribe to my channel, like this video, comment down below what you have been reading, or if you've read either of the books that I talked about in this vlog. And I will see you in the next one. Mwah. Bye.